Mr. Bowie, I first want to thank you for one of the most interesting presentations during the last 3 days. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, it was my pleasure to share, and I'm glad you feel that way.
Social media and social work, what do they have to do with each other?
Well, we could start with the word social. So the idea of social media is people communicating in a social way, making connection, providing information, informing one another, just connecting. The idea of social work is about connecting. As a matter of fact, the most productive social workers are the ones that are able to connect with the publics that they work with. Mm-hmm. If you're doing individual work, it's about connecting, building trust, gaining confidence in order to do intervention. If you're working with groups, it's the same expectation. If you're working with communities, communities will bring you in if they feel connected to you, or they'll shut you out if there's no connection. So I think social media and social work are natural allies.
It was inevitable.
Inevitable. They are natural bedfellows.
Because there is something about that flat world. Tell me about it.
Well, you know, I mentioned that the flat world society, that they're having fewer and fewer meetings, and that eventually the members will die off and there will be no more meetings. The reality is, I'm not suggesting that social media is the only way to do social work, but it's one of the trending ways, and as social workers we are always looking for best practices, and if social media is the in thing, then at least we need to explore it. As we explore, we might find it's not a good fit. We might find it doesn't work as well as announced, but at least we must explore that medium.
Rule number 1, confidentiality.
Yes, I mentioned, you will find that in social work, confidentiality in your basic social work practice 101, confidentiality is maybe one of the most meaningful things to understand and appreciate. Because with confidentiality, you're building trust. The client must be able to have some sense that what they share with a social worker, that like it will stay there.
Especially if it's on the social media.
Especially because if we've seen the trend in social media for people to share everything, what they're eating, where they're going. As a matter of fact, crimes are being committed now because of the kind of things that people reveal on social media. People are aware that other people aren't at home, that they're far away from home. It's a good time to go there. When you live in a small community, say here in Korsou, where a lot of people know each other, you have to be careful how you expose the laundry of the client, even when you're using a case example. Because the minute you start talking about the case example, even though you do not use names, everybody might know who you're talking about.
Especially in a small community.
It is very critical in a small community that confidentiality be paramount, especially as we think about social media.
How can the social worker give guarantee to the client that although they are using social media, that the confidentiality will be there?
Very rarely will a social worker give absolute or 100% guarantee. There are always incidents where confidentiality might be breached. Social workers have supervisors, they have colleagues that they share with, that they work with, that they commiserate with, and so there's no absolute confidentiality. While one cannot guarantee, the social worker can pledge to do their best to maintain. And so it is important that the social worker is consciously aware at all times of the import of maintaining the confidentiality of the client, of the individual, of the group, of the community. So that's the best that you can do, to be constantly aware, operate with that as the premise, but to make absolute guarantee would be foolish.
Is the social work scene enthusiastic about social media?
I would say younger social workers, newer social workers, because a lot of them have grown up with this media and they seem more excited about the prospect. Part of the challenge is that the instructors who are teaching and instructing these social workers, if they are not as comfortable, then there might be resistance. But I'll say this about the profession: social workers have always been known to be very flexible, to change as is necessary, because our profession is about change. Any social worker will tell you that they are a change agent. And so as new ways of doing comes around, even if it is slowly, people will gradually adapt. And I know more and more institutions are offering not just hybrid and blended instruction, but full-fledged online courses, not just class, but courses. And as a part of those offerings, things like Facebook, YouTube become an integral part. So social media is becoming more accepted, but like any new tool, it has to be used with caution, with care, and there is some reticence.
How did you experience your presentation? According to the knowledge of social media amongst the participants?
Interestingly, there was a measure of awareness of the existence of some elements of the media. I think there definitely needs to be more discussion about its utility, about some of the benefits, about some of the pitfalls, about some of the challenges. Yes, that discussion needs to be ongoing. The truth is, a 20-minute or 30-minute session is just to create awareness that there is a topic called social media to be discussed. These are going to be ongoing discussions that will last days and weeks and months. I felt good that there is a lot of interest, a lot of keen interest, especially on the part of the young people, and they're the wave of the future. By the way, the Flat Earth Society are made up of old fogies like me, and as we move out of the way, those Flat Earth Society meetings will end. And what we'll have is more people Skyping, more people connecting by Facebook and coming together once in a while at conferences like these.
That means we have to prepare the new social workers for when we become old, in that they have to take care of us via social media.
Most definitely, and more we'll see the need for there to be the connection between those who are older, who might be domiciled far away, or they might be homebound. And it might be a way to connect with the kids and the grandkids and the families far away. So, I think there is greater acceptance that is coming to this medium, and it's just a matter of time. I'm hopeful. If ever I'll say this, I'm an eternal optimist, and social media is here to stay. Social work has been here, it's here to stay. I think there's some marriage here somewhere. I think they met, they interloped, and they have a beautiful relationship.
Do you believe that there comes a time that we don't have that social workers won't have that problem of using social media, because those generations that are coming right now, they will become senior citizens, but they know the social media stuff. So social media and social work will be one.
There will come a time, but
yes, there is a but.
The technology continues to evolve.
So you have to keep upgrading.
In a few years, we might be talking about something completely different.
So the social workers need to learn that different thing.
Yeah, again, social workers have always been on the cutting edge of new discoveries, even if we're slow to adapt, because we're cautious.
Yeah.
But
is that it? Because we're cautious?
Yeah, of necessity. It's important because we've had fads come and we've had fads go. There was a time when the 8-track tape was the tape of choice.
Yes.
When people who owned them thought that there was no greater invention since sliced bread, that it would never go away.
Now, if you ask those youngers what's a CD,
they'd have no idea. And an 8-track, I mean, they'd think that that is some track that trains go on, where you have 8 trains going on a track. So with regards to social media, I'm not going to plant my flag and say this is the end of the development of technology. I wouldn't be surprised if in my lifetime we have new media that far surpasses social media. The thing that is important is that the social worker must get with whatever the new technology is as a way of meeting the needs of those who will be comfortable in that medium.
Okay, something else. How a serious threat is social media for newspapers?
There are those who like to feel the texture of the paper in their hand. I think there is a relatively good coexistence right now between social media and the actual newspaper, but I think the social media is still so wide open that there is the need to have quality reporting, quality journalism that you'll find in a newspaper. And we need to remember that a newspaper doesn't necessarily mean a physical product, because a lot of newspapers are delivered online also. So in terms of the news that you get on social media, you get access, but it might still be access to a newspaper. For example, I read USA Today online. You might get the headline or a heading on Facebook, but ultimately you still go to the USA Today website to do so. I will watch that trend develop, and because I'm not a prognosticator, I'm not going to make any predictions about the demise of one or the rise of the other. What I will say is that social workers will adapt to any new media that is created and for the benefit of clients. Because ultimately, what we're looking to do is to do best practices. And
is that what you're advocating? Best
practices. Ultimately, do least harm. The reason people come in contact with social worker is to have their circumstances ameliorated, and whatever medium will do the best job ameliorating those circumstances, the social worker, the good social worker, will adapt and make those changes. If it is social media, it will happen.
Do what's the best for the client. So
always what's best for the client.
So the steps you take have to be towards the client, so you can protect him. You have to protect him.
Always, you're always working in the best interest of the client. In terms of protecting, that might be a stretch for the social worker to protect, but the social worker might offer suggestions as to how the client could be protected. But we believe in client self-determination, so ultimately it's about the client making the decision that will end up protecting them.
Social work is doing good?
I think by and large we've done a good job. We work in vast areas, and the benefits are countless. I think social work is a profession that has a track record of success, and it will continue to be so.
We hope that this conference will start a new era of social work in Korsou, because we have the impression, not everybody, but that's the impression, the perception, that social work is looking for money and bread and stuff for poor people. So when we mention social work, we will we will think of someone who's solving financial problems and a place to stay. That is not correct.
Yes, you know, we do look out for the poor, and we do raise money and look for food for the poor, but we social workers work at multi-levels. We work with individuals, we work with groups, we work with families, we work with communities. We work at the macro level. We influence legislation. We look to change laws. We talked about human trafficking. We are concerned about macro issues as we are concerned about individual issues, because no matter how much we do for the individual, if we send them back in communities that are run down, that have poor lighting, that have it's crime-ridden, it's not going to help. So we look at multi-levels of operation, micro, meso, and macro, and we are looking at the big issues. We're looking at environmental issues. We're looking at health care issues. We're looking at the aged. We're concerned about the full spectrum of life and living. We talk about the holistic approach to looking at things, and we certainly hope that this conference did some eye-opening here in Curacao, help people realize that it's not just about working with poor people, working with trying to get food. We do that, and we'll never stop doing that, but we are concerned about every facet of life in Curacao and the rest of the Caribbean.
Where can we find you on the internet?
I'm a professor of social work at California State University in Sacramento, California, and anybody Google Sylvester Bowie, my name will pop up and you'll find me. I have stuff on YouTube. I have a web page there, and yeah, again, anybody Google Sylvester Bowie, you'll see me pop up at California State University in Sacramento. I'm there. My email address is Bowie, BOWIES, @csus.edu. I'm always willing to talk with anyone about the profession, about what we do, link them with resources, talk about my love and passion, whether it be human trafficking, whether it be spirituality in social work, whether it be international social work, whether it be conflict resolution. Always willing to talk about any of those issues. I've had a wonderful time here in Curacao, and I'm excited when I see all these people here just on fire for the profession.
Professor Bowie, thank you so much for being here. You leave a lot of knowledge, and I'll make sure it comes to those who need it.
Thank you. It was my pleasure being here, and I look forward to coming again and doing some work here with some of these excited people here in Curacao who are looking to make changes in this community, in this society.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.